Hello, Eng-Kong. Thank you so much for making the time today to talk a little bit about Buddhism and psychotherapy and the training course that you have been so involved in since its conception. In fact, you are the founding president of AABCAP, and without you, there would be no training course, or at least not in this form. So many people have benefited from the work that you have offered and continue to offer to the training course. I've asked you to answer a few questions in order to help prospective students understand what the training course is about, at least from your perspective, and to get a deeper sense of what the training course might offer to people, to therapists in very real terms. So how will they benefit? How will their practice benefit? How will their self-care benefit? How will the therapeutic relationship benefit? So we look forward to hearing from you today to let us know a little more about what the journey's been like for you. So my first question to you is, could you tell us a bit more about what Buddhism offers psychotherapy in more general terms?
Thank you, Sabina. When I first started AABCAP and with a team of others formulated this Buddhism and psychotherapy course, we were sure that Buddhism has a lot to offer psychotherapy, but at that stage we were not clear how would it actually benefit us in the course. So I'm glad you're asking me today, whilst you are the director of training of our 5th training course, this question. It gives us an opportunity to review the benefits of our work over the last 11 years. Generally speaking, and to put it in a very brief way, it brings the spiritual dimension into psychotherapy. Psychotherapy, as it's being taught correctly in many psychotherapy courses, is still at the level of the mundane. I think we're more and more aware that society, the human condition, requires more than that in this troubled world of ours. And we are now needing, and we are now moving on to include spiritual aspects in the healing processes. We've also discovered that in this Buddhism and psychotherapy course, whilst we brought in Buddhist teachings and practices, we then realized at the end of the course, and our students give us the feedback, that in fact, for the first time, they're appreciating a much clearer, better, and stronger ethical foundation to their work. Ethics in most psychotherapy course is taught, in a sense, in the negative, what a therapist or counselor should not do. Whilst more recently, and certainly in the contemplative psychotherapies, we actually spend quite a bit of time in teaching, understanding, practicing what we should do, not what we shouldn't do. And the should do nowadays also includes in the field, the recent field of positive psychotherapy, which are all ethically based. So this increases the solid foundation from which all our intentions in our work arises from. Another area that Buddhism brings very effectively into our practice is in the area of countertransference. Countertransference has always been, will always be an issue, and often a big problem amongst counselors and psychotherapists. It is in fact when we are aware of our countertransference that we know we are actually sufficiently deeply involved and affected by our clients, our patients, in our intensive work. But there are many Buddhist teachings and practices that increases and helps the management of our personal countertransferential issues, depending on the challenges brought by the client. And I think finally, there is this very contemporary issue of compassion fatigue, burnt out, because we actually still don't have enough counselors and psychotherapists all over the world. And the growing field in mental health care it includes producing more mental health professionals. And many mental health professions get into burnout and compassion fatigue. Buddhism is in a very special area in its training as a practice, as a teaching, and as a psychotherapy course. The Buddhist teachings actually takes care of the therapist, the counselor, in terms of their well-being, and in particular, in terms of helping them to prevent this very well-known condition of compassion fatigue.
Thank you, Eng-Kong. What a clear and succinct summary. I have just one question. You mentioned right at the start the word spiritual, and I wonder whether you can explain a little more about what does the word spiritual mean in the context of the teachings of the Buddha.
Well, I purposely use the word spiritual because, as you know, Sabina, many of us can be turned off by the word religion. So it's no wonder the one person who led the world, the scientific world, the world of counselors and psychotherapists, begin to be aware and to use mindfulness, which was a centerpiece of the Buddha's teaching, to bring it into the helping professions, and now it is even brought into government and into corporations. Professor John Kabat-Zinn purposely avoided the use of the word Buddhism when he brought in mindfulness training in the first and most well-known program, mindfulness-based stress reduction. It is important to first, for many people, to first appreciate that when we deepen and widen our own sense of the human condition beyond the concrete, beyond the what we can get hold of in a concrete, solid, substantial way, that in fact we deepen and widen into the human condition that has to do with the spiritual, that has to do with all human beings, and from the spiritual tradition of the Buddhists, all sentient beings, all beings that have a mind. We then actually are able to help much more effectively and certainly much more deeply. And that comes from a very deep understanding that just being in the human condition. We are already exposed to suffering. And therefore, we need something beyond our normal range of thinking and feeling to fully appreciate, fully understand, and go beyond this ordinary suffering to a state of mind that helps us to accept, to finally accept that this human condition, there are some fundamental unsatisfactoriness, some fundamental lack that we all feel. And very unfortunately, from that, all sorts of problems arise. So it is to reach the transcendental aspects of being that we are referring to. So in that sense, spiritual. There is, of course, spirituality in all the major religions of the world. But unfortunately, for most religions, the way it's been taught, certainly more so in the past than currently, and the way it's practiced, it's been based more on dogma and doctrine rather than the actual teachings and practices that are useful and effective in a very practical way. So unfortunately, religion has been looked upon and taught as if there's somebody up there that will just save us, and all of us have to do is to pay homage to the person up there. Whilst spirituality is more about our own persons here, our own spirit here, and how our own spirit, our own well-being, and the well-being of others are interconnected. And this is where we can help ourselves. And if you like, in terms of other religions, is the God within us and the godliness that all of us can further develop. In that sense, spirituality, rather than religion.
Thank you. That really encapsulates something very precious. So we leave it here, Eng-Kong, and come to the next video with the next question that we have, which is, how is Buddhism influencing your work as a psychiatrist? So I say goodbye for now, and thank you for your generous offerings, and I see you again in a minute in our next video.
Thank you.